Member from Portland Eastern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to simply say that I certainly cannot support.
Member from West Central St. James. Right, thanks. Go ahead.
Cannot support motion 4. I don't think as a country we are here to, we are there yet. Jamaica, as it is a two-society Jamaica. The reality is that crime is so high, it's hard at sometimes to regulate. Whenever the night comes, many things can happen. To protect the integrity of the electoral process and increase even by 1 hour would be dangerous. We should look or try to consider, especially the geographical locations of some areas, whether it could at all, even with the advancements in technology, support an increase in the voting hour. As it is right now, the integrity of the voting process, the containment, the best way to contain is the time constraints. There are many other things that can be considered in terms of how ROPA, with an amendment, can regulate how the private sector treats with the ability of voters to get the time to actually go and vote without fear of intimidation or loss of income or whatever it is that would prevent them from participating in the process. But one of the greatest ways to protect the integrity of the process is to be in keeping with the time in our current state. Now, even as this bill is intended, or this motion is intended to increase the time without the technology being implemented across all constituencies and in all polling stations. In the last election, and using the data and using experience and the information, there are polling stations that don't even have light, and it was still used. And we do have information. I can speak in relation to Portland Eastern. There were polling stations that were allowed to stay beyond the 5 p.m. time. And what happened during that time, the integrity of the voting process was compromised. Not the last election. That is exact at 5. But to increase it at 6, and we're dealing with the time, and we're dealing with how the sun rises and how the sun sets, and that's something that we have to look at. And so we're talking about all of those things when we think about the integrity, right? And I don't need to coin a term, but to say that the thieves come out at night, right? And people need to understand that. I could direct that to you as well, but you haven't said that on record. But while it is that we must, when considering the electoral process, to ensure that voters and the voting process is not compromised and persons are disenfranchised, time constraints is also important given the reality of Jamaica. So I just simply, in relation to motion 4, to say that I would invite this House to also reject the increase in time. I do support you on motion 1 in its entirety. Thank you.
Member from West Central St. James. No, she was before. Why are you shouting?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Seeking permission to speak from a seat other than my own. I rise to make my contribution to the various motions moved by the honourable member from St. Catherine Southwest. Mr. Speaker, in respect of motion number 1, the